Good day. We are going to tackle one of the many orders under the macroalgae. This is the order Fucales. The objectives of this discussion is to know the different families under the order Fucales, to classify and describe the species within the order, and to distinguish the common species found in the Philippines. Under order Fucales, there are 9 families, and they are Bifurcaryopsidaceae, Durvillaceae, Focaceae, Himanthaliaceae, Hormosiraceae, Nothiaceae, Sargassaceae, Siroccosaceae, and Scyphophoraceae.
Good day, everyone. My assigned topic under the order Focalis is the family Bifurcaryopsidaceae. So, what is Bifurcaryopsidaceae? There is only one species of Bifurcaryopsidaceae recorded all over the world, and the name of this algae, or the specific algae, is the Bifurcaryopsis capensis. And it is not common here in Philippines, but you can see one if you travel the shores of South Africa because this algae is abundant there. So, what are the characteristics of this Bifurcaryopsis capensis under the family Bifurcaryopsidaceae? So, it has a unique branching pattern where each holdfast can give rise to multiple stipes, 1 to 3 to 8 to 15 stipes, and that are erect and cylindrical. This branching can be simple or more complex with primary branches arranged distally and spirally. Next, we will talk about the family Durvillaceae under the order Fucales. So, Durvillaceae. It is a family of brown algae and it is adaptive to wave-exposed shorelines. And this Durvillaceae is not common here in Philippines, but you can see its distribution in the southern hemisphere, including the regions such as Australia, New Zealand, South America, and various sub-Antarctic islands. So, kung imong makita, mas common siya sa mga colder areas, pero kung mayo na kang diri dapit sa mga tropical, dili kay siya nimo makita since dili mao ang iyahang murag dili man dira maka common sa iyahang temperature. So there are 3 known species of under it, and first is the Durvilla antarctica. So, as you can notice, the Durvilla antarctica is like a bullwhip. So, other terms or the people in that particular areas, especially in the Australia, or I mean New Zealand, they call it bullwhip kelp. Since it is like something nga ginagamit sa mga rodeo, kanang magkuan sila og baka or kanang mga farmer kana bang ilang i-whip sa mga livestock aron sa pag-control sa crowd. Mao na nga ginatawag pud siya sa kanaang uban nga bullwhip kelp. Og imo pong makita nga mura pud siya whip since ang iyahang mga pattern, kung imong tan-aw dili man siya martaw nga pattern, ang iyahang mga blades kay nipis siya kaayo, mura siya og kana ang whip gyud or kanang ikog nga para sa pagi kanigpis. But siguro kung imo natan-awon sa personal kana ang nipis pa na siya. Next is the Durvilla willana. So it is similar to the Durvilla antarctica, but ang iyahang blade kay mas lagpad. Og ang uban pod ginatawag gihapon na siya nga bullwhip kelp. Since nga parehas raban siya nga murag katong ginagamit sa rodeo nga pangbunal sa mga livestock for the control, but dili na sila ginagamit for control. Murag gihimo lang siya nga illustration. Next is the Durvilla poha. It is recognized for its buoyancy. So inyong makita nga mura po na siya og kana ang mura siya og kanang makita ganin yung maglutaw-lutaw diha sa dagat nga murag stick ng inana nga baga. So mailhan nimo siya sa duha ka Dorvillia katong Antarctica ug Wilana lain ang iyahang forma since mulutaw siya kung makita ninyo ang iyahang mura og base inana kanang iyahang mga lineages gikan sa iyahang blades, di ba? Lingin siya then dagko. So mura mas o kana mas pabor niya nga mulutaw tungod ana nga adaptation ani nga specific nga Dorvillia pauha. So again, ang wala kay ni siya makita, dili kay ni siya makita sa Philippines since ang iyahang gusto nga mga areas is katong mga colder areas such as Australia, New Zealand, South America, and various sub-Antarctic islands.
Now we're going to talk about the family Himanthallaceae. The family Himanthallaceae is a family of brown algae within the order Fucales. They are commonly found in the northeast Atlantic Ocean and the North Sea, mostly on gently shelving rocky shores in the lower littoral zone and the sublittoral zone. The only known species of Himanthallaceae is the Himanthalia elongata, and the only member of its genus is the Himanthalia lingibi. So far, there are no species of Himanthallaceae in the Philippines due to unsuitable temperatures, meaning the Himanthallaceae only survives in the cold and temperate temperatures. Now we talk about the species under the family Himanthallaceae, which is the Himanthalia elongata. It is a brown alga in the order Fucales, also known by its common names thongweed, sea thong, and sea spaghetti. They are found in the northeast Atlantic Ocean and the North Sea. Its characteristic is that it has a thallus, that it is at first a small flattened or saucer-shaped disc up to 3 centimeters wide with a short stalk. In the autumn or winter, its long thongs grows from the center, branching dichotomously a couple of times. They can easily grow fast and can reach up to 2 meters by the following summer when they become mature. They bear the conceptacles, the reproductive organs, and they begin to decay when the gametes have been released into the water. Next is the family Hormoseraceae. The family Hormoseraceae is a relatively small family, and the most well-known genus within this family is the Homoserabansky. The Homoserabansky is a genus of seaweed in the family Homoseraceae. It is monotypic with a single species known as the Neptune's necklace, Neptune's pearls, sea grapes, or bubbleweed, and they are native to Australia and New Zealand. Its characteristic is by strings of olive brown, more likely like the appearance of hollow beads. They are most commonly found in the littoral zone, exposed rock platforms, or in rock pools between tide marks. Next is the family Nothiaceae. The family Nothiaceae is a family of brown algae within the order Fucales. The most well-known genus of this family is the Nothea. They are monoecious and produces male-female gametangia in the same conceptacle. The female gametangia are present throughout the year, and they develop either on branched or unbranched stalks within the conceptacle. Meanwhile, the male gametangia has been observed only between April and July. Both of the gametes are piriform in shape, meaning they are piriform, with 2 laterally inserted flagella. The male-female gametes freely intermingle within the conceptacle. So the well-known species under the Nothaeaceae is the Nothea anomala. The Nothea anomala is a small branching brown macroalga in the family Nothaeaceae and Fucales. They are native to New Zealand and southeastern Australia, matching the distribution of its host Homocera. The Nothea anomala is believed to be an obligate epiphyte of Homocera bansky, although there's a single unconfirmed observation of Nothea that is attached to Cephophora quadrophila, which is a species under Homocera.
So next, we have another family of brown algae. We have the family Cercocaceae. So it is comprised of 5 genera: the Phyllospora, the Cytothalia, Cerococcus, the Cystospora that is restricted to Antarctica, and one genus Marginariella which is endemic to New Zealand. So let's start with Cystospora jacquinuti. So this species has small spherical structures that are gas-filled bladders that allow the alga to float up off the bottom. So these small cylindrical structures are productive structures that is called receptacles, so as shown in the picture. So the genus Marginariella is endemic to New Zealand with 2 widespread species. We have the Marginariella boreana and Marginariella orwelliana. So this new species can be distinguished from the other member as the genus, as it lacks vesicles and it possesses very narrow strap-like fronds and is restricted to the bounty of the New Zealand. So next we have the Marginariella parsonsi. So this new species, as I said, can be distinguished from this as it lacks vesicles, possess very narrow strap-like fronds, and it is restricted to New Zealand. Next, we have another genus, the genus Phyllospora. So we have the Phyllospora comosa. So it is known as the gray weed. So it is found in the oceans that is typically cooler with cold cooler waters along the southeastern coastline of Australia around the Tasmania. So the algae have a central main axis, usually up to 3 meters, so which bears many branches along their length, so with closely arranged leaf-like laterals. So rayweed forests are important as they are habitat for new marine species and also for producing oxygen and capturing atmospheric carbon. So next we have the Egregia menziesi. So this is known as the feather boa kelp. So it is dark brown in color with shiny and bumpy in texture and may reach over 5 meters long. So it grows as a branching stipe with a thick holdfast or the root-like structure. So it bears long, flat strap-like fronds lined with small blades in each a few centimeters long. So there are pneumatocystic intervals along the fronds which provides their buoyancy.
To the family Cyphophoraceae. Cyphophoraceae is one of the families under order Fucales. Like most brown algae, they live in the marine environment. They are endemic to the cool temperatures of New Zealand and Australia, and they are not found here in the Philippines. This family consists of one genus, this is Cyphophora, with 2 species under it, Cyphophora chondrophylla and Cyphophora gladiata. First species that we're going to talk about is Cyphophora gladiata. This plant reaches to 124 centimeters long with linear fronds that are branched dichotomously with a discoid holdfast. Older plants can be very slimy, lives in the intertidal, and forms a distinct band just below the low tide on exposed coasts. They can grow subtidally to 20 centimeters. People from New Zealand and Australia consume Cyphophora gladiata as their food. The next we're going to talk about is Cyphophora chondrophylla. This plant is fan-shaped and lies in one plane. They have regular even branching and grow to about 30 centimeters tall to 50 centimeters. That is attached by a branched holdfast. The color vary from gray-brown, drying to black, and the texture is tough but brittle when dry. They live in the low intertidal to subtidal zones on rocky reefs on unexposed coasts.
And now, we will be talking about the family Sargassaceae. So the family Sargassaceae is composed of 37 genera, and it is known to be a family of brown algae, Phaeophyceae, and primarily presented by the genus Sargassum. It is characterized by their complex style structure, which includes holdfast for attachment, stipe, leaf-like fronds, and air bladders, or pneumatocysts for buoyancy. They are commonly found in warm coastal and open ocean waters, often forming dense floating mats or growing attached to rocky substrates. So Philippines has a multiple species of Sargassum and is identified based solely on morphology, representing 18% of its reported global diversity.
So, first, we'll talk about Sargassum abbotiae. So, ang environment is marine. So, dili nimo siya makita sa suba. Dili nimo siya makita sa mga kanal-kanal. Since ang iyang prefer nga environment is ang marine environment. So, the type of species is holotype of the genus Sargassum or Sargassum basiforum. Then, ang iyang characteristic is ang iyang leaf from different branch orders. Ang iyang leaves is from vesicles and the portion of branch with is receptacle. And also, kung imo siyang i-identify, ang iyahang dahon is serrated ang iyahang end. And also, dili kaayo siya long ang iyahang pagka shape. Kung dili, murag pa-oval ang iyahang type but serrated lang ang end. Then, kung imo makita ang iyang bunga smooth, nana siya, niya gagmay. O na siya. Kung makakita ka ang ingon ani, kasagaran mo ingon ani, madagsa inig mga bawd-bawd, mga ingon ana, or ang ihangan ana, daliran nimo siyang makita o ma-identify. Then, ang Sargassum balingasiense. So, again, parehas ni siya sa ang Sargassum abbotiae nga completely marine. O ang type of information gikan sa algae base, gikuha na mo ang iyang locality kay sa Barrio Balingasay, sa Bulinaw, sa Pangasinan. But kana siya nga mga lugar is naara diri sa Philippines. Mao na siya, no? Then, holotype gihapon siya sa Sargassum basiforum. Then, also, ang characteristic ani nga mga algae, ang iyahang leaf from branch and orders. The forms of vesicles. So, dali na nimo makita ang iyahang mga vesicles. The portion of the young fertile branches and the portion of the branch male or female receptacles. Online po na nga identification kung imo lang siya i-compared sa katong Sargassum abbotiae kay ang iyahang shape sa iyang dahon is mas lagpad siya. Kung imong tan-awon nga mura siya saging nga dahon pero gagmay. So, di ba? Patag-as ang iyahang shape og serrated ang iyang end. Og ang iyang mga bunga is lignin pero gagmay gihapon. Then makita nimo ang iyahang bunga or kana mga lingin-lingin sa ubos-ubos, di ba?
Another species that we're gonna talk about under genus Sargassum is Sargassum sullivanii. Structure and morphology. You will know that this species is Sargassum sullivanii when their thallus does not have ramifying rhizoidal holdfast that does not reach to 5 millimeters in length. Leaves of these primary and secondary branches, especially of the fertile thalli, are narrow and looks to be linear to linear lanceolate. The leaves are 30 millimeters in length and 5 millimeters wide. Primary and secondary branches are distinctly flattened or compressed throughout. They are found here in the Philippines, most especially in Palawig, Zambales. They are economically used there as fertilizers and medicine. as antimicrobial in a form of poultice. Next is Sargassum omizaki, the structure and morphology. You will know that this is a Sargassum omizaki when their thallus does not have ramifying rhizoidal holdfast that only reaches lesser than 2 millimeters in length. The leaves of the primary and secondary branches, especially of the fertile thalli, are narrow and looks to be linear oblanceolate, which does not reach more than 20 millimeters in length. The primary and secondary branches are fully terete and filiform. They are found in the Medio Island in Puerto Galera, Mindoro Oriental. And same as the Sargassum sullivanii, they are used as fertilizers and medicine, as antimicrobial in a form of poultice.
Now, we're going to talk about the Sargassum bataanense. The structure and morphology of Sargassum bataanense has a structure that is slightly compressed, which holds a discoid to conical shape. Its stem measures approximately 10 millimeters in length and may be classified as a holdfast or stem. The primary branches of Sargassum bataanense has new laterals that arise from the holdfast at the tip of the stem, which are terete and may be smooth, or it may exhibit slight lumpiness at the base, which extends up to 40 centimeters in length. The secondary branches of Sargassum bataanense as also terete and smooth, which shows slight lumpiness due to leaf scars. The terminal branches of Sargassum bataanense are characterized as smooth and terete. The cryptostomata of the species are sparse, which contributes to the overall morphology. The color of Sargassum bataanense is glossescent, meaning it has a silver and gray color under low magnification. The length of the Sargassum bataanense is up to 40 millimeters and 13 millimeters wide. The Sargassum bataanense is distributed in Luzon, in Sitio-Saay, in August, Limay, Puting Buhangin, Orion, and in Bataan. Next is the Sargassum curimawense. The Sargassum curimawense has the holdfast that is characterized by a distinctive shield shape, which features a very short stem which approximately measures in 5 millimeters in length with a brownish hue and finely bilious texture. Its primary and secondary branches are compressed and smooth, which reaches lengths up to 45 centimeters. The upper order branchlets of Sargassum curimawense has maintained a terete and smooth appearance, while the secondary branches are arranged in an alternate pinnate fashion on the primary branch. The lower secondary lateral leaves are presented in diverse forms, which are elliptical, oblong, obovate, or oblong lanceolate, with an asymmetrical base and an entire or irregularly dentate margins. The tip of these leaves are rounded to obtuse, with an indistinct midrib and sparse cryptostomata. The Sargassum curimawense, lastly, is distributed in the parts of Luzon, in Pangil. Mostly they are more distributed in July, in Curimao, and also in Ilocos Norte. The next one is the Sargassum doti. Its structure and morphology has the holdfast that is conical shape, which has an approximately 3 millimeters stem length. Its branches are very terete and smooth texture. Its secondary branches are also terete, but to slightly compressed form. It has irregularly arranged, which reach up to 13 millimeters, centimeters in length. The leaves of Sargassum doti is variable, which size up to 25 millimeters long and 5 millimeters wide, which are obovate to linear oblong shape. The leaf stalks of the Sargassum doti are cylindrical or flattened, which has a symmetric acute base. The margins of it are from entire to finely dentate, and its apex is obtuse or acute. The midrib, as well, is faint, which has disappearing midway towards the apex. The cryptostomata of Sargassum doti are sparse and irregularly scattered on the leaf blade. Its vesicles are spindle-shaped and slightly laterally compressed, which measures up to 6 millimeters long, 3.0 millimeters thick, and 5.0 millimeters wide, and has the stalks that is terete or flattened, with mucronate or expanded apex. Its vesicle characteristics of the Sargassum doti are it has some ribbed or narrow winged, which has a smooth surface with or without the cryptostomata. The receptacle of the species has the simple raceme or cyme. Its lax structure has limited terete branches, which is up to 8 millimeters long, 0.5 to 10 millimeters thick, and which is occasionally with pinched areas or warty features. The Sargassum doti, lastly, is distributed in parts of Luzon, mostly in Honduras, which are very abundant in May, in Puerto Galera as well, and also in Mindoro Oriental.
Next is the Sargassum velasquezi. It is a species of brown algae that is found and native to the Philippines, and it is endemic into the Philippine waters. And its color can be dark green to brown, and the holdfast is disc-like or branch, robust to withstand the wave action. This type is cylindrical, moderately rigid but flexible. Its blades are flattened, and edges can be maybe smooth or serrated depending on the species. And the blades are often arranged densely. And also they have pneumatocysts. They are barrel-like structures filled with oxygen for buoyancy. They are spherical or elongated and distributed along the blades. Next is the Sargassum yamadae. So this species belongs to the Phaeophyceae class under the family Sargassinaceae, and known for their brown pigmentation, and it is primarily found in saltwater environments and often attached to rocks or other substrates. And its holdfast is typically disc-shaped, designed for strong attachment, and this type is cylindrical, flexible, and often varies in length depending on the environmental conditions. Its blades are thin, flat, and often serrated at the edges, and also they have pneumatocysts and air-filled bladders that help the algae floats in a form of vesicles, and they are spherical or oval in shape also. Next is the Sargassum yoshidae. These are a species of brown algae within the genus of Sargassum, and it is commonly found in the marine environments, typically in the coral reefs, rocky shores, marine protected areas, and known hotspots. Its holdfast is typically disc-shaped allowing for strong grip on surfaces to withstand wave action. And this type is a stem-like cylindrical region that varies in thickness and length depending on the environmental conditions. And the blades are flattened, leaf-like structures with a high surface area for absorbing the light. And the edges of the blades can be smooth or serrated depending on the species. And it has been identified in several locations, just like in Polillo Island, in Quezon province, and the Alabat Island. And also these species have nematocysts that helps the algae float. Next is the Hormophysa. This species is also under the family of Sargassaceae, and it is not found in the Philippines. The structure of this Hormophysa is that the thallus, or the main body, is typically cylindrical or slightly flattened and can grow quite large, and the branching pattern is irregular, with branches often arising from the main axis at various angles, and are typically brown in color due to the presence of the pigment fucosanthin. And the thallus is often leathery and rubbery in texture. And for its vesicles, they possess numerous gas-filled vesicles, and these vesicles are distributed along the branches, aiding in buoyancy and allowing the algae to float freely in the water column. Next is the Landsbergia harvey. It is also called Landsbergia curcifolia. The thallus of this species is generally flattened and divided into a stipe and a blade. And also, the holdfast is a basal structure that anchors the alga to rocks or other substrates, and it is typically discoid or branched. The blade is divided into numerous segments, giving it a complex and often intricate appearance, and these segments can be flat, cylindrical, or irregularly shaped. Next is the Mariodesmadicaisne. The thallus of this species is typically medium to dark brown and can grow up to 30 cm in length. And this type is cylindrical and can reach up to 18 cm in length, and it branches dichotomously or trichotomously. Next is the Sargassum aquifolium. It is also called double-edged sargassum and can reach up to 30 centimeters with a flat main branch and wide, short, spiny leaves. The leaves range from 2.54 to 10.16 centimeters and 1 to 4 inches in length. Leaves are golden brown in color with brown dots and a clear spine. And also it can float due to the nematocysts found on the leaves.
The next species will be Sargassum bacularia from the genus Sargassum. This species has blades with margins more regularly serrate with tapered tips than other species. It can be differentiated from them since it has distinctively elevated cryptostomata that give the vesicles and terminal branchlets a lumpy appearance. The female receptacular branch is mainly flat or compressed basally and has a tertigerous but non-twisting distal portion. This plant is known to be dioecious, compressed, and the receptacles are mainly cyme or raceme for a female and is compressed at base to trichoterous at the distal portion with teeth along the edges, while the male receptacular branch is terete, verrucous, simple to branch, and the local distribution for this species is in Calatagan, Batangas. The next species is Sargassum polycystum by Agard 1824. So the structure and morphology of this species is that it has a thalli large, dark brown to yellowish brown attached to a rocks by a coursing, branching, holdfast, short cylindrical stem. The primary branches is terete, bearing irregularly alternate secondary branches with numerous simple and Y-shaped proliferations. Their cryptostomata is scattered on the surface of leaves. Stalked vesicles, ovate or spherical vesicles attached to the secondary, tertiary, and terminal branches, either singly or in clusters, bearing few cryptostomata or teeth-like structures. Their main receptacles are racemose or paniculate. Receptacular branches are also terate or warty, and female receptacles are small, cymose. Receptacular branches short, dense, compressed, simple or forked with teeth or spines at the margin. The next species will be Sargassum onoi by Trono 1994. The structure and morphology of this species is that it is characterized by its primarily branched terete, which is lumpy due to simple branched protuberances and very long linear blades, usually 10 times longer. Unlike many other species, it is characterized by leaves, primary and secondary branches, sessile, simple, divided at base or tip. It has two types of vesicles that are distinctively spherical. It has a raceme receptacle that is warty and tapered to blunt tip, cone-shaped segments, and the local distribution of this species is in Puerto Galera, Oriental Mindoro. The next species is Sargassum samalense by Trono, and the morphological features is that it has discoid, holdfast 10 to 15 millimeters wide, and leaves of primary and secondary branches is oblong, ovate to somewhat lanceolate leaves, and it has slightly compressed, narrowly elliptical to oblong vesicles. The old receptacles are paniculate, and young receptacles form a dense cyme, with each cluster subtended by a phylocyst. So the local distribution is in Borongan, Eastern Samar, Philippines. And the distinguishing features is that it can be distinguished from other species because of its long, foliaceous, three-angled, twisted receptacular branches, and also the presence of phylocysts and the form and shape of its vesicle, narrowly elliptical to oblong. The next species is Turbinaria conoides by Kutzing 1860. It belongs to the genus Turbinaria. The morphological features of this species is that it is commonly known as sea bell. The thallus is erect and can vary in color from yellowish brown to dark brown. The main axes are terete or cylindrical and exhibit a moricate texture at the base. The branches of the thallus extend in various directions, forming a loose structure that can create large colonies. It has triangular or irregularly rounded shaped blades. The distinguishing features of this species is that it resembles a bell shape when viewed from above. The term bell also refers to the buoyant fronds that can float and disperse across marine environments, contributing to the rapid colonization. The next species is Acrocarpia paniculata by Alex Shog, 1854, belonging to the genus Acrocarpia. The morphological features of this species is characterized by its branch structure, typically forming dense thickets in subtidal zones. The fronds are often described as having a feathery or bushy appearance, which can provide habitat for various marine organisms. The distinguishing feature is that it has an upright growth form, unlike many other species that may have a more flattened or sprawling growth habit. Acrocarpia's paniculatus upright thallus allows it to capture light efficiently. The specific reproductive structure of the species is that the presence of both unilocular and plurilocular sporangia provides a clean taxonomic marker. Kanamorg soft iyang appearance ba, distinguishing it from closely related species. The next species is Acrocarpia robusta from the genus Acrocarpia. The morphological structure is that it forms a colonial structure, typically forms irregular colonies with a distinctive structure characterized by first is encrusting bases. The base of the colony is encrusting, providing stability. And next is thick conical branches. Central branches are thick and conical, which taper towards the periphery. It has branches that are thinner and often have upturned ends, creating a unique appearance. The The distinguishing characteristics of this species is that it can be distinguished from similar or thicker and more robust thallus, which is less flexible, hence the name itself is robusta. It is less flexible than that of Acocarpa paniculata, and the branching pattern and reproductive structures they provide their key identification marker. The next species is Ascistis haini by Schniffner, 1934, belonging to the genus Ascistis. So, this organism is primarily known for its association with aquatic environments, particularly in Yemen. It has thallus that is often smooth or slightly rough, which can be compared with other species that may have more pronounced textures compared to this species. The growth form is that it tends to be more filamentous compared to the broader blades seen in related genera. Ascistis haini is often found in species-specific habitats such as floating mats in the open ocean, which distinguishes it from closely related species that may inhabit rocky shoreline or tidal zones. The next species is Antophycus longifolius by Kutzing, 1849. It is a species of brown seaweed primarily found in the Gulf of Mannar region of South India. This alga is notable for its various biological activities and structural characteristics. So the thallus structure is typically elongated and can reach significant lengths, often displaying a flattened ribbon-like appearance. The base of the thallus is anchored to substrate by a holdfast, the same with other species, but it secures the alga against the currents and waves. The coloration is that it should display a brownish hue due to the presence of focusantine and a pigment characteristic of brown seaweed. The next species is Axillaria constricta by Gruber, 1896, belonging to the genus Axillariella. So the structure and morphology is that it is generally crust-like, often forming a thin, flat layer that can appear lobed or irregular. The structure allows it to efficiently anchor itself to rocky substrates. It is primarily recognized for its crustose growth form, which typically adheres closely to substrates in marine environments, typically smaller from any other brown algae with a more compact form. Its labeled appearance can differentiate it from the crustose algae. The next species is Biforcaria bifurcata by Ross, 1958. It exhibits a cylindrical thallus that can grow up to 1 meter in length, and it has a rhizoidal holdfast, small sucker-like disc that anchor the alga to substrates. The thallus typically has a forking pattern that contributes to its unique appearance. It can display a range of colors from yellowish green to dark green. The distinguishing characteristic of this species is that it has sterile tips of fronds that are rounded and slightly enlarged, the presence of small air bladders which are less pronounced compared to other phocoids. Those are the distinguishing characteristics. And the next species is Brassicopicus sisimbrioides by Molinari and Geary, 2021. So it is a filamentous branch thalli forming loose, delicate tufts. It has uniseriate filaments with cylindrical cells. Apical cells often taper, giving the ends of the filaments a pointed appearance. So it has olive brown to dark brown color, typical of brown algae due to the presence of focusantine. Specific localities of Brassicopicus sisimbrioides are still under study, but it has been documented in several regions of the North Atlantic and Mediterranean Sea. Its precise range may expand with further research and identification. In conclusion, Fucales is an order within the class Phaeophyceae, commonly known as brown algae, characterized by their unique structural and reproductive features. The members of this order, often referred as phocoids, typically exhibit a distinctive morphology that includes holdfast as type lip-like blade, which may be branched and equipped with gas-filled bladders called pneumatocysts that provide buoyancy and facilitate photosynthesis near the water surface. Fucales are primarily multicellular organisms and displayed oogamous reproduction where a small male gamete fuses with large female gametes. This order is differentiated from other algal groups by its specific pigmentation, primarily due to the presence of focosantine, which imparts to the characteristics of brown color. And additionally, Fucales includes many of the common littoral seaweeds found in temperate, tropical, and subtropical regions, playing crucial ecological roles as primary producers in that marine ecosystem. Their complex life cycles and structural adaptation further distinguish them as separate order within the diverse phylum of brown algae. And with that, this is the end of our topic. Thank you so much for listening. And the references used for this reporting mainly revolves around seaweed sources of Gravini and Trono. So thank you so much.